Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of our community series. Today, we're going to meet Azeem Alahi and go with him through his journey in dance and being a member of the dance community in Belfast and in the north of Ireland. Welcome with me, Azeem.
Thank you so much for having me, Hazar. It's really nice to be here.
You're very welcome. If you don't mind just letting us know who you are, what do you do, and yeah, where are you in the art scene?
I'm Azeem Alahi. I recently started a dance company agency called Dance United Agency. I'm currently the only agency for dancers in Northern Ireland. I've been dancing ever since I was 12 years old in hip hop street dance. Dance has always been a part of my life. And right now I want to basically take dancers underneath my wing in Northern Ireland and empower them to do professional opportunities and get them professional opportunities while also standing up for them in this really unpredictable world and industry. So yeah.
That sounds very interesting. If you tell us how you started yourself, since you're saying that you started very young, like how did that happen, and who supported you to become here, supporting other dancers as well?
Okay, so I first started, I think it was primary school, and I was, I think, 10 or 11 years old. And this girl called Pamela Castle, she's quite well known in Northern Ireland. She owns a dance school and an acting school, and she just came in one day and was like, let's teach dance. I took the dance class, and I remember at the end of the day, she said, you're really good. You need to come to my dance school. So I was like, okay, I don't know about this. And basically, a year goes past. I do a school competition, and I come first without ever being trained. And then she sees me again, and she's like, "You better come. Like, you need to come." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know what she's talking about." I was so dumb when I was 11. Let's just be honest. When you're young, you don't know what's going on. So, anyways, finally, my mum pushed me. She said, "Azim, look, you're good. You're winning things. Like, I don't know why you're winning things, but you're obviously doing something right." And her dance crew, it's just been upwards of like a trajectory almost. And we won all Ireland's, we won Ulster's dance competitions, and it's just been, yeah, really, really great. And I've just been dancing ever since.
That's very nice. And it's very interesting when you're talking about like dance competitions and dance as a competitive kind of art. And what you're doing now is doing the exact opposite, where you're like, no competition. We all should come together and work out something that works for everybody. Like what I know it's not a transaction, and I know they can both be there at the same time. But like, what's your perspective on like competitive arts and in versus community art, and how can we take benefit of like the structure and the system that exists in like making arts competitive, but at the same time keeping it very human and like social and community based?
That's a really good question. I think competitive a competitive aspect in any sport. I think dance is a sport. It was in the Olympics, so it's definitely a sport. But I think a competitive nature to any sport is really important to teach a dancer, an athlete, how to be conditioned in a way, how to work hard, how to be disciplined. And I think that's very important, regardless. And that can translate into your professional career. And then on the community side of things, I think it's important to work together. You know, if we're not uplifting each other and helping each other out and working on projects and spreading the art, then it's never going to progress. And especially in Northern Ireland, you know, we are quite far behind compared to a lot of other nations like London and, you know, the mainland of the UK and even Ireland, Dublin. We need to come together, and I think that's also what my organization represents. It's bringing young people, older people, people that want to grow and dance in a community and actually bring them together, support each other, and help each other, and also stand up for each other in a way. You know, in the future, I do hope and plan to have a competitive side to the agency where not internally competitive, but going to competitions. I think it's very healthy. And it also, it again, it instills those values of being disciplined and working hard. So I think it's important. But again, community is also very important for the cause, and making sure that the art stays strong and is spread and as many people know about it as possible. And yeah, that's I think that's a good answer. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's very good. It's actually very good because it's very interesting because for me, for example, I come from a circus background and circus is like very inclusive and very community based, and especially where I learned it, it's like social circus. So like for me, any competitive arts or sports is like I don't want to go near that. Like I don't want this environment. But you actually put it in a very good way that it's actually a healthy practice. And as long as exactly like we grow up learning discipline and like respecting the competition and like yeah, respecting each other as well, then no harm.
Yeah.
So I'm now 50-50.
Am I pulling you in that direction?
No.
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 It can be scary, I think, when people first start out. But it's always starting something. That's the hardest part, is starting. Jumping on that boat is always the worst part. But once you're on it, you learn so much.
Yeah.
And I think if anyone takes anything from this, that's what I would say, is just start, go for it, and don't look back.
That's very nice. And talking about starting things, I want you to tell us about how you started your agency, why, who helped you, and what it has become now. Like, what is it now, and like, who would benefit? Like, who would be able to come to you that you can,
Yeah.
yeah, work
And
with?
like, yeah, for sure. So Dance United Agency, there's not any dance agency right now that exists in Northern Ireland. It has been tried in the past and failed. And because of the current climate of the industry, as well as how to go about business, And over the last couple of years, I have a lot of contacts because I did a lot of professional work, so with event companies and stuff, and through that, I decided, you know what? I'm getting a lot of opportunities to dance, but I am one person. I cannot physically do all of this opportunity, like all of this work. And on top of that, I heard from my friends and stuff, like they were being asked to do things for free and to come down and for a free class for like a professional job. And I was like, whoa, this is not right. Like, I act as well. I'm not sure if you know, but I do a lot of acting stuff, so I understand the climate and what's right for actors, what fees are correct, travel expenses, all of this extra stuff. So from that, I applied it to dance, and I was like, there is a huge disconnect in Northern Ireland for dancers and how they get treated. So off of the back end of the amount of opportunity I was getting, and off of the back end of, whoa, all my friends are being completely done over by these companies. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to agencies in Northern Ireland that specialize in acting. I'm gonna ask them if we can do a dance thing that will stand up for dancers and get them jobs and have a backbone for dancers in Northern Ireland. So I went to them, and they were basically like, we don't see your vision. And I was like, okay. And that was a really hard pill to swallow because I didn't think I was going to do it. Honestly, I didn't think I'd have the resources to do it by myself. But after long talks with my brother, who supports me, and my older brother, and after talking with a lot of friends, I said, you know what? I'm gonna start it. So that's how I got started. And we were involved in the Amal project, which was huge in Belfast. It was funded by the Belfast City Council and Art Secta, the largest cultural organisation in Northern Ireland. I brought along lots of dancers in paid roles, and it was very great. And then that flew over into auditions. So I started auditions. I've had now two auditions, and I've signed 30 amazing dancers. And it's basically these dancers I've signed, they want to do professional work. They live in Northern Ireland. They thought that their career ended at 18 years old after leaving dance school. But I wanted to give them a new hope, a new life. And when I've spoken to these people, they're like, Azeem, for the longest time, I was just taking dance classes. I didn't see anything going on. And I've given 70 opportunities over the last couple months to
Yes.
my dancers. Paid, all paid. So I'm very proud of that. And if anything, I think more doors have opened since my organization has opened, you know. More people are coming to us instead of me reaching out to them because there is now this company that represents something, represents dancers that want to work, want fair pay. These dancers are incredible. You know, we do every style under the industry. So I'm very excited for it, and I think if I was to say who it's for, it's just anyone who lives here in this little island and wants to give dancing a go professionally, and if they want to make some money and also get professional experience at the same time.
And speaking of dancers, what brought you to Accidental like last week or a couple of weeks ago?
I don't know. I am actually losing track of time. I think it might have been last week. A friend told me about it, and to be honest, I'm also part of Queen's Dance Committee. And every time I would go past, I would see your building like light up at the very top, and I was like seeing dancers, and I'm always looking out for dancing like classes and stuff. So I was like, what's going on here? What do I not know? And so I finally realized, after doing some research online, that you have a studio space, lots of like a theater space, a rehearsal room. So I decided to reach out, and I was really, really happy to know that it was free on that day and really great rates. So I was more than happy to book with you guys and lots of great facilities. So it was a
Well, you're
natural
very,
fit.
very welcome. We're very happy you came to us as well.
No, I'm happy. I'm very happy, and I know what we were doing that day. It turned out great with the space and the facilities, and it was really, really great to have the space.
Yes. And so, what are your projects like? Are you performing? Do you have a performance of your own, or are you part of a band or like of a group? Um, yeah, tell us more about
Of course.
you yourself.
Myself. Okay, so I first and foremost, my most of my professional experience is in acting. So I have a lot of credits in TV, in commercials, in theater. So that's my main thing. And I think since I've kind of filtered over to dance, a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's a dancer. It's all about dance, dance, dance." But I'm like, no, 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 don't get it confuddled. But dancing is a huge part of my life, of course, as well. But I do focus a lot of my time on acting, and even in the dance world, I used to be part of a crew, in the performance school who went on to do All Ireland, win All Ireland championships, win all of these competitions. But again, just like a lot of other dancers, I thought after reaching a certain age, which I was 18, that my career was over. You know, I'm 18, I have to go to university, that's my dance career over. What else can I do? I thought obviously actors have a very long lifespan, but for dancers, I was like, there's nothing in Northern Ireland. Maybe I need to move to London to dance. But um, after that, I kind of just took the odd class, you know, in university. And now I just choose to support other dancers. I do dance myself, of course, for professional work. But I think first and foremost, I've did all of that. Honestly, I have that experience. And I just want to help others. It's not about me anymore. It's so much bigger than me. When people say, "Well done, Azeem, you're doing great," I'm like, no, no, it's so much bigger, you know. It's not about me winning, it's about Dance United winning. Every time Dance United wins, it's a huge win for all of the young people to the older people in Northern Ireland that want to work and want jobs at a fair rate and fair treatment. Like it's a huge win for all of us. So I think as well we can do so much more united than apart.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, there's always just been a lot of borders in the industry, but I want to bring everyone together.
Definitely.
No matter how hard, you know, it's going to happen, and I believe in that.
Oh, no.
So it'll happen. It'll happen one day. One day.
And so your agency is relatively new.
Yes.
So what's been the hardest the hardest thing to deal with, promoting the dancers and getting them out there and getting what they actually deserve, and also running the agency, like you're talking about an agency from scratch and one of a kind. So like, what are the obstacles and the challenges that you've been facing since you started?
I think first and foremost, as soon as we came out and made our social media and started to reach out to people, people were like, "What is this? Like, what are you doing? I have no idea what this is." Because it was, for a long time, there's just not been a dance agency. So they were like, "What do you do? Like, what? Is this a dance school?" I'm like, "No, it's not a dance school." You know? So it was first explaining what we are. And I still think a lot of people don't know what we do.
Yeah.
But we have quite a few followers on Instagram. We have reached a lot of people. I think 50,000 accounts just in the last month. On our Instagram reach insights. So a lot of people do follow, but they don't know what we do. And I think that was that was a really hard part of actually starting it up, was explaining of what we do. And because of that reason as well, people didn't take us seriously, of course, because you're a brand new company, you have a lot to prove, and I understand that. And on top of that, because of what we represent, it's very new. It's very new, and for a lot of people, that's scary. New stuff is scary. Because for the longest time, this industry in Northern Ireland has been a certain way, and this is bringing about a whole new way of getting jobs for dancers. So, for some people, it might be scary, but this is the only way we're going to progress, and that's what I completely believe. But I think one of the largest reasons I've even gotten this far, to be completely honest, is I've met such angels in the industry. The odd golden heart people that have, just out of the kindness of their heart, just said to me, "I'm really passionate about what you do, and I'm here to support you." And like, one of them being Natasha Clark. She is a part of the oldest dance company in Northern Ireland. So to get her on board was a huge win. That was a huge win for me, and a lot of credibility for my company. And that opened a lot of doors as well. So I was so thankful. And my brother, obviously, family comes first as well, and he's just been so supportive. So if I didn't have that support system around me, I wouldn't be here right now. To be completely honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I think, one of the biggest challenges, just establishing ourselves, making people believe making people believe in our vision, and also allowing them to feel comfortable in what we do, and getting people on board with what we believe in and what our aim is. So
No, it's actually very inspiring because like it's a great evidence on the snowball theory, because like one person believed in you and helped you. Little do they know that you'll be helping and believing in 30 others who are also going to be believing and helping God knows how many more, like,
I know.
So no, that's actually very inspiring. And what I want to know as well is what was the reaction of the dancers themselves to the idea of being under an agency? Because I also know that artists usually have a bit of like, want their individual kind of identity and representation in the industry, and it's hard to like come under an organization or a company. So how did you convince dancers and like get them under your wing and like get them together?
I think we all have a common goal: fair pay, fair treatment. That was the biggest driving factor. Is what our goal is, of fair treatment for dancers. And honestly, I didn't do much convincing. We kind of established, and I got so many submissions, so much interest, so many applications. I put a Google form out, and it had over 100 applications within a month of a brand new company. So it was insane to see the reach. And I think a lot of people that even supported me from the start, people that own dance schools, people that, trust in what I do, they have gotten frustrated at what this industry has become. for the longest time, it's just been an ongoing cycle of events. You know, just mistreatment, get experience, mistreatment for the younger ones, get experience. It's just been like that for the longest time. And I think they all saw this and was like, look, this is a fresh take on what dancers could have in the future. So, yeah.
And why do you think it is that dancers get mistreated or like less paid than other like art forms such as acting, as you said? Like why is it easier to mistreat dancers than other artists?
My guess is, like, obviously in Northern Ireland there is a lot of agencies, right, for talent. But all of these agencies, they specialize in acting, in theatre work for actors, in commercial work for actors. So there's a common theme here. And I'm also signed to an acting agency, and I've never got a dance job with an acting agency. I've did a lot of work. They're officially a talent agency, but I've only ever did acting work. You know, there has been the odd wee thing, but when it comes to the ratio, it's really, really heavy on the acting side.
Okay.
And I think that's just because these talent agencies are very experienced and have connections in the acting realm. And there's nothing like that for the dancers. So it's very easy to go to an individual and say, a very excited individual, a youth, someone that's just out of uni or dance college, and say, look, come dance with me, come dance for me for a free class, for £5. You know, it's very easy.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're mistreated, because there's just not enough organizations. There's not enough equality pacts that cover us. There's not enough companies that just stand up for dancers. And for that reason, it was very important for Dance United to be a thing. And I've already seen a lot of impact on other people and organizations being shut down after they're like refused to pay certain fees. You know, it's like we have to be united in that. And if there's borders, we're not going to get anywhere, you know. And I think a lot of people saw that and believe in that vision. So, yeah.
And if you can tell us about where you're from and like the house you grew up in and where did you grow up and so on?
For sure. So I was born here, but my parents are from Pakistan originally, and I've lived in little old Portadown all my life, so that's always been my home, and ever since 0 months, that's just been my area. My cousins, all of my family are here. Yeah, it's just always been my home, and funny enough, even when I visit like Pakistan, for instance, it's foreign. Like I'm not used to it. You know what I mean? Like this is a space, a climate, people that I'm not familiar with. And even when I go over there, they're like, "You're different than us. You speak different. You act different." They can tell. They can tell by how you dress, how you talk, how street smart you are. So even over there, I'm not one of them. And even sometimes over here, of course, being a minority in this country, I can also feel like I'm not from here. But this is my most familiar, and this is what I call home. This is what feels like home for me.
And like I can understand you being a foreigner in Pakistan because you were born and grew up here. But how is it that like why do you feel like sometimes that you're not you don't belong here or that people don't see you as from here or something like this? Like what makes you feel like you're being treated as a foreigner here?
Now, there's been times where I've been told. It's very direct, you know. There's very direct moments in my life, especially in school, where, you know, I've been called out or something's been said to me like, you're not, you're lower than me because of the color of your skin, you know, something like that. No, someone that didn't even know me, I've never spoken to before, you know. And there's also been times where it's passive aggression or discrimination, and or there's also times where it's racial bias. And of course, racial bias is very hard to prove because it's in here, you know, of how someone treats you. But there's just been moments where I felt less than compared to my other other counterparts or colleagues, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been a struggle, but at the same time, it's something I've had to get used to, something I've had to navigate, something that I've had to work with my whole life. It's been a part of who I am now, and I think it's made me stronger, and it's actually instilled values in myself that has helped me
Yeah.
has helped me, you know, do everything I've done, you know. And it's made me very resilient. So I'm actually grateful almost. I'm grateful because it's made me like build this thick skin. And I don't know why I'm mumbling there, but it's made me, you know, develop this thick skin for not taking too much and knowing who I am. That's, I think, the most important thing is that I know who I am, no matter what anyone says to me. I know what I stand for and who I am, so that doesn't matter what anyone says.
Yeah. And like, especially lately with everything happening, like, what would be your advice to someone who's going through what you've been through, someone who's going through what you've been through now, and who can't see the positivity in it, or like are can't deal with it just yet? Like, what would be your advice to for someone to like overcome being discriminated in the society? And just to note that we're not generalizing, and it's, I think it's a minority of the society here who are actually discriminative and like are racist. And like I also want to point out of like how impressed I was with everything happening and like all the riots and so on, of how impressed I was of the wider community and how everybody stood together against any sort of racism and so on. And this was very uplifting as well, because I was here and I'm not from here, like, and there was time where I felt like I was in danger of being in public spaces and so on. But then the amount of support and like push the wider community has given me and the people around is impressive.
I agree.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, that's just a thank you for the great community.
Thank you for treating us so well and supporting us. No, very, very seriously. But if I had any advice at all, I'd say to anyone that's watching is to make sure that you're talking to anyone that is okay to listen, someone that you trust, um, in any space, whether it be in school, maybe talk to a teacher you trust. I think the more that we have these conversations, the more we'll know how to deal with them. And as well, it'll just take this pressure off your chest, even if you talk about it. You know, it won't feel like it'll do any good, but it does wonders.
Yeah.
And it's bringing awareness as well that this happens, and to also those people in those positions like teachers or principal or maybe your boss, you know, whoever it may be, that they need to watch out for this and they need to actively make sure that this isn't happening anymore. So also mentally, just try to you know, it'll pass. There's always seasons in life. And I think even mentally as well, there's always seasons and it's always like this. Nothing ever stays the same. So just know that you're going to get through it and that you need to stay strong. And I know that's really cliche, but it's true. Just stay strong.
Well, Azeem, thank you very much. It's been really inspiring, and it's been really nice to chat to you. And hopefully, we'll see more of you in Accidental.
Yeah.
Really excited to like getting to know you better and following your work more.
Thank you.
And
Thank
for everybody listening, check out Dance United. We're gonna put their social media accounts in the description. You can just click on it and go see them directly. Thank you very much, Azeem.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to all the team as well for reaching out. It's been a pleasure, and I cannot wait to have many more projects in this building. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching.